Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're tackling a question quite a few of you have been asking. Is Tempus AI a good time to buy now? We've got all your shared articles, research, notes, everything you've sent over to give you a really comprehensive look at this intriguing company. And hey, before we jump in, if you're finding value in these discussions, please do hit that subscribe button, like this particular conversation, and maybe leave a comment. Also, if there's another company you want us to look into next, just drop its name in the comments below. We do read them.
Okay, let's unpack this Tempus AI situation. It's certainly generating a lot of buzz, right? A really fascinating player in that whole healthcare technology space.
It really is. What's fascinating here is how Tempus AI operates right at the intersection of healthcare, AI, and diagnostics. That makes it complex, but potentially, very high impacts. So today we'll be exploring its recent performance, the future outlook, and the underlying financial and technical picture. Our goal is really to equip you with the knowledge to understand the different perspectives on its current valuation and, well, its future potential. Great. So let's start by looking back maybe the past 3 months or so. Tempus AI has been incredibly active with a series of events that have clearly impacted its trajectory. What stands out from, say, July 2025?
Okay, July. Well, a big one was the FDA 510(k) clearance they got for their ECG low EF software. Now, that basically means the FDA gave it the green light, confirming it's safe and effective, similar to existing devices. This significantly expands their cardiovascular diagnostics portfolio.
And that wasn't their first, right?
Exactly. It was actually their second FDA-cleared ECG AI product. So that really builds their credibility in clinical AI, shows they can get things approved for actual patient use.
Yeah, that's a strong signal. Also in July, I remember reading about Tempus Next, their care pathway intelligence platform. It expanded into breast cancer.
That's right. And it had already screened thousands of patients since its launch back in 2024. So this expansion shows they're, continuously developing and widening their reach.
And then there was a big financial move too, wasn't there? The convertible note offering.
Oh, yeah. Pricing $650 million in 0.75% senior notes due 2030. That showed pretty strong demand for their capital, suggesting investor confidence in the long term, even if it adds debt.
Right, a sort of vote of confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, fast forward to August 2025. This is where we got some hard numbers, particularly with the Q2 earnings release on August 8th.
Yes, and the headlines were definitely positive. Revenue acceleration, margin improvement. They reported a 30% surge in clinical volumes.
Wow, 30%.
Yeah, and over 212,000 NGS tests delivered. Next-generation sequencing. Investors reacted pretty positively to those operational metrics, shows real-world adoption.
And off the back of that, management actually revised their guidance upward for the full year, didn't they?
They did. Raised the full year 2025 revenue outlook to $1.26 billion. That's projecting 82% growth year over year. Huge number.
82%. And they also forecasted adjusted EBITDA.
An adjusted EBITDA of $5 million. Now, that's roughly a $110 million improvement over the prior year's guidance. A big swing towards, adjusted profitability.
Adjusted being the key word there. But still, a positive direction. How did the market take all this?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Market sentiment kind of oscillated. The strong results definitely attracted bullish attention, no doubt. But there were still these lingering concerns, from that short report earlier in the year questioning revenue sources and management. Those discussions were still happening.
Right, that shadow hadn't completely gone away.
Exactly. So it raises this important question. How does a company growing this fast, getting this much attention, balance that with the actual path to profitability? The market's clearly weighing that potential against the current financial realities.
Okay, then rolling into September 2025, they participated in that Morgan Stanley Global Healthcare Conference.
Yep, increasing visibility among institutional investors, analysts, always important for sentiment down the line.
And the stock price itself has been climbing, getting close to its 52-week high, trading around, $79, $80? The high was about $91.08.
Right. And that climb, especially given the lack of actual profit, really puts the valuation under scrutiny. You've got this rapid revenue growth, fantastic. But then you look at the forward PE of minus 868, negative ROE. It's a stark contrast.
Yeah, hard to ignore those numbers.
And you also have discussions heating up about institutional and ETF rebalancing. Its momentum is definitely putting it on the radar for larger funds, which fuels more buzz, especially in online trading communities.
So that brings us pretty much up to date. What does this all mean for the near future? The next 3 months look like they have some pretty significant events lined up too.
Definitely. There are some key upcoming catalysts to watch. First up, September 16th, that's the potential inclusion in major healthcare ETF rebalancing.
And that could be big, right? Just automatic buying pressure.
It could be, yeah. Inclusion forces those ETFs to buy shares, boosting liquidity, potentially the share price. Plus, it adds a layer of legitimacy for institutions.
Okay, what else is on the calendar?
October 7th, we should get a Q3 2025 preliminary earnings update. Just a quick look.
Followed by, let's see, October 15th, a holiday-driven tech sector report. Give some industry context.
Right. And then October 22nd, institutional investor disclosures. That's when we see if the big funds were buying or selling in Q3.
Always interesting to peek behind that curtain.
And then the main event for the quarter, November 8th, the full Q3 2025 earnings release.
And the market will be watching that one very closely, I imagine, especially after the Q2 performance and the valuation questions.
Absolutely. They'll be looking for continued improvement in profitability metrics, operational scale, confirmation that the positive trends are holding up under that heightened scrutiny.
Now, beyond those scheduled dates, there's always the rumor mill, isn't there? Especially with a company like this. What sort of speculative catalysts are floating around?
Well, one persistent bit of chatter is about a potential AI oncology breakthrough announcement. Speculation is they might unveil a new oncology foundation model before the end of the year.
Leveraging their data leadership. Yeah, that could be huge.
Game-changing, potentially. If they can really move the needle in cancer treatment AI, then there's talk of a strategic partnership with a major hospital network.
Scaling up the platform nationwide.
Exactly. A big pilot deal or collaboration would be massive validation and would really expand their clinical footprint quickly, makes them stickier.
And insider buying rumors.
Yeah.
Always popular in the forum.
Yeah, whispers about executives increasing their holdings, often seen as a sign of internal confidence, though you have to take forum rumors with a grain of salt.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anything else? International, maybe.
There are those persistent rumors about their first non-U.S. regulatory approval or some kind of overseas launch signals global growth ambitions. What's fascinating here is how these potential catalysts, especially the AI innovation and partnerships, could really drive long-term value, beyond just the immediate revenue figures. They represent that big upside potential.
Right, the things that get investors really excited. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks then. Let's dig into the fundamentals and the technicals, the core numbers versus the chart trends. Start us off with the fundamentals.
Sure. Fundamentally, trailing 12 months revenue, TTM, is $951.98 million. Significant top-line growth, no question.
Oh.
But net income for that same period is negative $199.73 million. Still unprofitable. EPS, earnings per share, TTM is negative $1.18. So no current PE ratio because there are no positive earnings.
So the growth is impressive, but the bottom line isn't there yet. Analysts are noting the growth and the shrinking losses, right? And management did guide higher.
Correct. The trend is improving, but they're still burning cash. Looking at financial health, market cap is $13.83 billion. Share count around 173.73 million. No dividend, obviously.
But their competitive position, that seems to be a key part of the story.
Absolutely. Their specialization is next-generation sequencing diagnostics, advanced molecular profiling for healthcare and pharma. Their core strength, their moat, is really those data-driven insights. Leveraging this huge pool of clinical molecular imaging data for precision diagnostics, they're scaling those data assets rapidly and have key partnerships. That's their edge.
So the data is the treasure trove.
Okay.
Now let's switch gears to the technical analysis. What are the charts telling us? Price action, levels.
Technically, the recent close, September 5th, was $79.62. The 52-week range is wide, $31.36 up to $91.45, shows high volatility, but also that strong rally since the IPO in mid-2024.
So it's near the top of that range, but off the peak. Where's support and resistance?
Immediate support looks to be around the $65 to $75 zone. Resistance, where selling pressure might increase, is likely between $85 and $91.
And what about key indicators like moving averages or RSI?
The 50-day simple moving average, the SMA, is at $65.36. The 200-day SMA is $56.63. The stock's trading well above both, which is generally bullish. However, the 14-day RSI, Relative Strength Index, is around 49.55. That's pretty neutral. Suggests the strong momentum has paused a bit, not extremely overbought or oversold right now.
But volatility is still high.
Oh, yeah. Estimated around 12.25%, and they've had positive sessions 63% of the time in the last 30 days. So sentiment is generally bullish, but some technical models do suggest it might be a bit overextended short term. Could be due for a pullback.
Okay, so that paints a clear picture. Strong growth, impressive data moat, but no profits yet. Technicals show a strong run, but maybe needing a breather, and caution around valuation.
Exactly. It's that classic tension, isn't it? Potential versus the current reality on the ledger.
Definitely. So let's bring it all together. What are the analysts saying? What's the overall sentiment? And crucially, what are the risks investors need to consider?
Well, analyst ratings show some divergence. You've got BTIG with an $85 price target back in August, but Morgan Stanley was more cautious at $68 around the same time.
And the consensus target.
The consensus analyst price target averages out to about $69.50, which interestingly implies about 12.7% downside from the current price near $80.
Wow. Okay. So even though the overall consensus rating is a moderate buy,
Right. 7 buys, 6 holds, 0 sells.
the average target suggests it's maybe run a bit too far ahead.
That's the implication. It really highlights that push and pull we've been talking about. It raises questions about entry points and risk tolerance, especially with the sector's volatility.
What about buzz, like on social media?
Generally positive on platforms like X. Lots of focus on the revenue growth, the narrowing losses, optimism about AI innovation and partnerships. But those reminders of the past short report concerns, they still pop up. The skepticism hasn't vanished.
Understood. Okay, risks. Let's lay them out clearly. Stock-specific risks first.
Number 1, continued net losses. They have to eventually turn profitable. 2, reliance on those healthcare and pharma partnerships. That revenue stream needs to be stable and growing. 3, competitive innovation in AI. It's a fast-moving field. They have to stay ahead. 4, regulatory risk is always there in healthcare.
The volatility and past controversies?
Yep. History of volatility and the impact of past short reports create a certain risk profile. And finally, just dependency on maintaining that tech edge, that data advantage.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about broader market and sector risks?
Well, healthcare and AI are just inherently higher risk sectors, exposed to rapid tech changes, regulatory shifts, reimbursement pressures from insurers, and broader market pullbacks often hit these high growth, risk-on stocks harder. We've seen that happen. If the overall market corrects, stocks like Tempus AI can experience outsized volatility.
Okay, so putting it all together, the growth, catalyst, lack of profit, technical, sentiment, risks, what's the overall takeaway for our listener thinking about buying Tempus AI now?
It's definitely a nuanced picture, as we said. The strong revenue growth and shrinking losses, they absolutely support a bullish case. The long-term potential in AI and data-driven healthcare is compelling. However, you absolutely cannot ignore the continued unprofitability, the high valuation, and the fact that the price is currently above the average analyst target. That introduces considerable risk, particularly for new money coming in now, and the high volatility just amplifies that risk.
So the moderate buy consensus isn't exactly a screaming buy signal at this specific price point.
I'd say it demands selectivity. Yes, a moderate buy, but perhaps not aggressive accumulation right here, right now. It really depends on your entry point strategy and risk appetite. It's not a simple yes or no.
Right. And this is where it gets really interesting for you, the listener, based on your own style. If you're maybe a more experienced trader, that high volatility might present short-term opportunities around those catalyst dates we mentioned. But you have to accept the very real risk of sharp downside swings. It's not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not.
And if you're a long-term investor,
For long-term investors, it really only seems suitable if you are deeply, truly bullish on the whole AI and healthcare revolution, and you are fully prepared to tolerate significant volatility, maybe even interim losses, potentially for several years, before profitability might fully materialize.
it's a compelling story, a story of innovation, growth. But like so many of these frontier tech companies, it comes wrapped in a significant risk profile.
And that really brings us to the core question for you to think about. How do you personally balance that undeniable allure of disruptive technology and rapid growth against the fundamental requirements of profitability and, frankly, a sensible valuation in your own investment strategy?
Definitely food for thought. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Tempus AI. We really hope this has given you the insights you need to make your own informed decisions. We'll be back soon with another look into a company you care about.